UFC 312 takeaways, do Plessis-Chimaev next? Zhang should make a move up. UFC 312 recap, du Plessis dominates Strickland, Zhang Weili eyes flyweight gold, and Australian fighters struggle. Dricus du Plessis once again proved his dominance, defeating Sean Strickland for the second time, this time in convincing fashion, to retain his middleweight championship at UFC 312 in Sydney. Now 9-0 in the UFC and undefeated since 2018, du Plessis has cemented his status as one of the division's top contenders. However, if he wants to carve his name into the history books as one of the greatest 185-pound fighters, his journey is far from over. His next challenge could be his toughest yet, as Khamzat is widely expected to receive the next title shot. ### Du Plessis path to greatness. While his win over Strickland was dominant, it doesn't necessarily position du Plessis as the front-runner for Fighter of the Year. However, 2025 could be the defining year of his career. With the Strickland rivalry settled, a high-stakes title defense against Chimaev looms large. About that could be one of the biggest of the year. Should du Plessis emerge victorious, he could elevate himself into the top 5 of both the pound-for-pound rankings and UFC popularity. The South African champion also wasted no time in teasing an even bigger challenge, possibly moving up to face Alex Pereira at light heavyweight. If that bout materializes and du Plessis can secure victories against both Chimaev and Pereira, he could etch his name among the sport's all-time greats. An even greater milestone would be a UFC event in South Africa, something du Plessis has long advocated for. While the logistical hurdles make it a long shot given the UFC's preference for year-end events in New York and Las Vegas, talks of bringing the promotion to Africa remain ongoing. With the potential for 3 major fights in 2025, du Plessis is on the cusp of a defining year. The MMA world may have underestimated him in the past, but his evolution, evident in his masterful performance against Strickland, makes him impossible to overlook. ### Zhang Weili's next move, a shot at 2-division gold? Tatiana Suarez was expected to be one of Zhang Weili's toughest challenges, but the strawweight champion made it look easy, delivering a dominant unanimous decision victory to defend her title for the 3rd time in her second reign. Now, it's time for Zhang to make history. She has cleaned out the strawweight division, having already defeated top contenders like Rose Namajunas, Yan Xiaonan, Amanda Lemos, Carla Esparza, Joanna Jedrzejczyk, twice, Jessica Andrade, and now Suarez. With no clear challenger left, a move up to flyweight seems like the logical next step. If Zhang makes the jump, she would likely face the winner of the expected title bout between Valentina Shevchenko and Manon Fiorot. Given her dominance, Zhang would be a strong favorite in that matchup, with the opportunity to join Amanda Nunes as one of the few women to hold UFC titles in 2 divisions. Zhang's second championship run has been even more dominant than her first, and her performance against Suarez solidified her place as one of the greatest strawweights in history. Suarez, known for her elite wrestling, was expected to test Zhang's takedown defense. Instead, the champion stuffed 14 of Suarez's attempts after being taken down early, completely neutralizing her opponent's offense. With the flyweight division in need of fresh challengers, Zhang's move up could shake up the landscape of women's MMA and solidify her as one of the sport's biggest stars. ### Australian fighters struggle on home soil. While UFC 312 drew an enthusiastic crowd in Sydney, the event was lacking in major local star power. Despite a near-capacity turnout at Quito's Bank Arena, Australian fans were left wanting more, as many of the region's fighters fell short inside the octagon. The night started on a high note with Contender Series graduate Quillan Sockeld scoring a spectacular 19-second knockout over Anshul Jubli. However, the rest of the local talent failed to deliver similar results. Jonathan McAuliffe secured an entertaining win over Kevin Jussett, while Jake Matthews put together back-to-back victories. But beyond that, it was a tough outing for Oceania's representatives. Jack Jenkins suffered a 3rd-round submission loss, while Jimmy Crute's majority draw with Rodolfo Bellato left the hometown crowd frustrated. Notably absent from the card were some of Australia and New Zealand's biggest stars, including Alexander Volkanovski, Israel Adesanya, and Jack Della Maddalena, all of whom were in attendance but not competing. While scheduling conflicts and upcoming fights in London for Della Maddalena and Carlos Ulberg played a role, fans are eager to see a stronger local presence in future events. Dana White has consistently praised the Australian MMA market, and past events in Perth and Sydney have delivered bigger stars and stronger lineups. However, UFC 312 fell short in providing a marquee showcase for the region's fighters. As the UFC continues its partnership with the New South Wales government, the demand for a higher caliber card next time around is clear. Final takeaways. UFC 312 provided a night of dominant performances, with Dricus du Plessis and Zhang Weili reaffirming their status as champions. Du Plessis now faces a defining year ahead, with potential blockbuster fights on the horizon. Zhang, meanwhile, has outgrown the strawweight division and could soon be chasing two-division glory. While the Australian crowd showed up in full force, the event lacked the star power needed to truly electrify the region. Moving forward, the UFC will need to bring a more stacked lineup if it hopes to satisfy the passionate fight fans of Oceania.